How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Do you think crypto prices are cheap? I think you should watch through to the end of this video because I'm going to show you some of the charts, some of the indicators that show some crypto is cheap, some still has a lot further to fall. We're also going to take a look at some of the top news, some good news, some bad news, and everything in between. Also, we're going to end with three different survival tips and three different things that you have to do now if you want to actually make money in crypto. Otherwise, you could lose everything. And I'm not playing that up, it's really true. So if you don't mind hitting the like button and subscribe button, I really do appreciate that. I bring you the content as quickly as possible when there's top news. And I think that's really the best thing that I've done on this channel is when there's news, I try to get it out to you as quickly as possible and don't care about all the frills that some other channels have. So I'm really here for you in that way. Now, there's also a link down there to BlockFi in case you want to start buying on a broker. It's a great place to buy, and they gave up to a $250 bonus in Bitcoin when you start buying or depositing. So definitely check that link out underneath the video. Now, crypto has bottomed a bit, at least short term, falling down below 21,000 yesterday. It's sitting right around the 200-week moving average right now. A lot of altcoins are actually doing better than Bitcoin over the last 24 hours, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. You can also see the stock market is pretty much sideways for the day. I mean, the Nasdaq's up a bit, but it's fluctuating a lot. A lot of people making big changes to their positions ahead of the Fed meeting tomorrow. And the reason we were down so much yesterday was because it came out that 75 basis points is on the table. This is a monitoring tool that indicates what the Fed is probably going to do moving forward. You can see that there's a 99% chance now that we will have a 75 basis point hike instead of a 50 basis point hike. And then a 99% chance that we get another 75 basis point hike after this. So obviously the markets are pricing this in a lot more than they were even just a few days ago. I mean, when we look at previous week, right, there's a 95% chance that we had a 50 basis point hike. Now it's switched to 99 that we get 75. You can see from here on out after that, we expect 50 basis point hikes for September, another 50 basis points 50 basis points for November, and then we got down to 25 basis points, and we're not exactly sure. So a lot of people are expecting that we're going to get some larger hikes than we're expecting recently. You can see that's been devastating for crypto, with Bitcoin falling down on this news from about $27,000 all the way to $21,000. Now we're slightly below the 200-week moving average, just kind of sitting there. A lot of the fear is in the market right now. We're at extreme fear, an 8, which we don't get very often. We've been below this once, right around a 5 or a 6 in the past, back in 2019. So obviously so many people are scared, and this is one of the worst quarters we've ever had. Look at this. The only quarter that's worse is Q1 of 2018, where we had a 50% drop. Now we're in Q2, obviously, and negative 48%. So if we fall just a few $1,000s more, this might be the worst quarter that we've ever seen for Bitcoin. Now, you can take this as a bad sign. You can also take this as a good sign, right? There's so much fear in the market and so much is priced in that if anything comes out positive, well, that's going to be quite good for the overall crypto market. Even if something like Russia and Ukraine gets cleared up, or supply chain issues, or inflation, or the Fed isn't as hawkish as we expect it to be. You can also see the realized price here. This is the aggregate, or the average of all the Bitcoin on the network the last time they were spent on chain. So you can see we're right there. I mean, we haven't been here since back in the COVID crash. So we hit this a couple different times over the last few years, another indicator that now might be a good time to buy. And so much of this sell pressure and so much of the reason that we're down is just from liquidation, so much leverage in the market. And you can see one of the reasons that we've had so much sell pressure is just because we've had so many liquidations. I mean, 2 days ago we had over $1 billion liquidated. Yesterday we had over $500 million liquidated. A lot of fear too yesterday because people were worried about Celsius being liquidated. So they have wrapped Bitcoin. They have some of their money that they're leveraging, some of their Bitcoin that they're leveraging. And this was around 21,000, I believe, at the beginning, their liquidation price, and they've been adding collateral to it consistently, and now it's 38% below the current price. So you could kind of see the whales going at each other yesterday. A lot of people were trying to liquidate this, and this is a large position. This is a $500 million Bitcoin position. So a lot of whales were trying to get the price underneath it to liquidate them, causing the price to go even further down, short it on the way down while they did that, and then long it on the way up. And you can see though that it's getting harder and harder to do that. So the chances that Celsius gets away with this without being liquidated are getting higher and higher. I think it's probably unlikely that we see under $14,000. That I think would be pretty hard to get to because so many buyers would be coming in, but it is possible. Now with that in mind, Celsius still hasn't really given an update on when they're going to start enabling withdrawals and transfers again. You can see that they're not even holding Twitter Spaces because they need all hands on deck. Now Celsius, if you don't know, they also have an issue because of Lido staked Ethereum. Not only their Bitcoin leverage position, but they have a lot of their Ether in the staked Ethereum, and this is losing peg compared to Ethereum. It's about $60 or $70 off at the time of this recording, which is about 5% off. This is another reason that they held up withdrawals, just because they're having a bit of a bank run and they have to sell at a loss if they want to complete these withdrawals. Now, we also have other stablecoins that are losing peg. I mean, I don't know anyone that would put their money in USDD, which is Tron's algorithmic stablecoin, after we had the UST debacle, but obviously some people do. I mean, take a look at the market cap, right? Almost $1 billion, and it's starting to lose its peg as well. So there's a lot of things going on around here. A lot of bad things are happening. We also have more companies laying off their workforce. Obviously this has to happen, especially with the thought of a looming recession, with it harder and harder to raise money. I mean, we just had Coinbase go IPO this year, DPO or whatever they did, and now they're down almost 90% from when they were at their highs. So you can see that a lot of companies are having to cut back. Now, I think this kind of brings us to a couple key points now. With all this stuff happening with Celsius, I think now is a good time to talk about where to hold your crypto. And I talked about BlockFi earlier. I do use a lot of these different exchanges. I use all the ones that I talk about, but I think it does make sense if you're looking at protecting some of your wealth long term to use something like a ledger or some kind of hard wallet, cold wallet storage device. I'll leave a link to Ledger underneath the video. This isn't sponsored or anything like that, but a lot of people like Ledger. I'm also going to try out the Treasure as well and see which one I like more. So if you want more content on that, let me know. Again, I'll leave a link to it underneath the video in case you're looking for one, but that is supposed to keep your crypto safer, right? Not your keys, not your coins, as they say. And this protects you in case there is some kind of fall, or one of these companies that you work with happens to have a bankruptcy or something like that, or over leverages. They try to make money in a lot of different ways, and usually that's fine in the bear market or in the bull market, but in the bear market it can be quite an issue, obviously, as we've seen. Now, I think it's important to take a look at where the market is now to determine what we're going to do, obviously, right? So that's why I said, are you thinking about buying crypto? Do you think it's cheap? Watch this beforehand, because there are a couple key things to watch. Obviously, I pulled up a lot of things that said that we're oversold. I mean, if you look at the RSI on Bitcoin or Ethereum, we're oversold. A lot of cryptos are down 80, 90, 95%. The greed index is very low, or the fear index is very low. So obviously we're oversold. We could fall further. Bitcoin has never reached its old all-time high from the previous cycle. It could be possible this time, right? I mean, there's still a lot of fear in the market. We could have more liquidations. We could have more selling pressure. The macro is still not looking good. The previous high is right around 19,000. I think there's a big psychological barrier at 20,000, and then another one at 19,000. I don't think we're going to fall much further than that. If we do get around those prices, I think that's pretty much bottom. I'm not even saying we will, but I wouldn't be surprised if we did go back down a little bit, especially if the Fed does something kind of drastic, if they raise by 1 point or something like that. Obviously, you have to take that into account. There is a possibility for that. Now, looking at a lot of the other cryptos, I should say too, on Bitcoin, I am buying. I'm buying more than just my DCA right now, because I think over long term, this is a really good price. I mean, whenever we're around that 200 week, we typically only stay here for a couple weeks. That doesn't mean that we can't fall significantly further. We've done that several times with 15% and 30% under the 200 week, but that's usually short-lived. Now, everything can happen for the first time, so we could be here for 2, 3, 4 weeks, who knows. But I think now is a good time to be picking up cheap sats. Now, looking at some of the other cryptos, they're actually up on the 24-hour. I think you have to be careful about this. Obviously, Bitcoin dominance is actually falling a bit after being on a tear recently. We were up at 48.5 or so. Now we're right around 46, actually dropping below it. I think you have to be careful. I think with bear markets, typically we last in them for a while, right? It's not like we just get right quick out of them and go into a bull market again. And a lot of these will bleed against Bitcoin if the past is any indication. A lot of people will move into less risky assets, and a lot of these projects, right, a lot of the smaller projects won't last because they'll run out of money. Their founders will just rug pull or just leave because they made millions, and then they'll just move on from there. So I am not looking to allocate too much towards the other cryptos. At this point, I'm not against it. I think a lot of these will last over long term in the top 20, 30, 40 cryptos, but I'm not looking to buy right now. And one other thing to take a look at is obviously Ethereum's down a lot, but when you look at it compared to the last market crash, obviously it fell down 94%. That's over about, what was that, 12 months, 11 months? Compare that to this market cycle. We're only down 74% so far. So we can fall a lot further. If we fell down an equivalent amount, 94%, we would be at $279. So obviously we could fall down a lot more. We could fall 80% from here, 75% from here. Now, I'm not saying that's as likely. I'm thinking that there's less and less chance of that happening. We won't fall as much each new cycle. So it might be a 90% or a 85% downturn, but I still think that it will bleed towards Bitcoin for a good amount of time at least, especially when we hit that accumulation phase. Bitcoin will stay sideways for a bit most likely. A lot of other alts will bleed. Now, this takes us to 3 different things that I think you need to do if you want to be buying in this market. 3 different things to keep in mind even if you're not buying as well. First of all, you have to stick around, right? You can't make money in this market if you leave right now, right? This is the time to be buying and watching and researching. Also, you just have to survive. That's part of the same point here, right? You have to survive and you can't over allocate. And the reason I say that is there's so much inflation right now. Like, you can't over allocate towards crypto, feel uncomfortable, and then wait until the very bottom, get pulled out of your positions because you're just too fearful, you over allocated, or you dollar cost average too quickly or something like that. You have to be able to survive this bear market. You have to be able to mentally survive this bear market. From there, you also have to take money out of anything sketchy, right? So if you have money on an exchange and it sounds like they're having problems, I just move it, right? You don't necessarily have to sell everything, just transfer it to another account. Be careful when you transfer it, obviously. But if there's any kind of sight of that happening, I would just be careful, right? Have your crypto over multiple different places. Don't just put it on one exchange or one device. So just be careful of that. That's something that I think is really important. Make sure that you get out quickly, jump ship quickly. If you have money in something like this, USDT, just pull money out, in my opinion. Of course, this isn't financial advice, but it's not worth sticking around to see if it resolves. Just move it. And then third, increase your income. If you can, I think now is a great time to be focusing on this. If you don't make a lot of money, or if you don't have much crypto, if you don't have that much of a portfolio, focus on increasing your income, because things aren't moving as quickly in the crypto market for the most part. Right now, everything is very volatile, but there will be some kind of phase where we're just sitting sideways for a while, right? We did that all last month. $30,000, $29,000, $31,000, just back and forth for a whole month. You want to increase your income because that will be so beneficial when we do get those dumpster level prices on a lot of these cryptos. I mean, heck, if Solana falls another 70, 80%, and it could, because obviously Ethereum did that as well in the last cycle from where it would be right now. The fact is, if it falls another 70 or 80% and you were able to increase your income, you want to allocate towards it. That's going to make you a ton of money over the long term, right? Any way to throw more money into the market while still staying safe and surviving through the bear market and not over allocating, any kind of way to increase that income and really funnel that into investments is going to make a huge difference over time, especially if you're working with a small amount of money to start. And I get questions like, what should I do with my $100 that I just got? Really, if you're wondering what you should do with $100 and this is like what you have to invest, or even $1,000, what you really should be doing is investing it somewhere that has good potential over the long term and figuring out how to make more money. And that's going to be much more beneficial, figuring out some way to make 2 or 3 times as much money instead of figuring out how to get an extra 5 or 10% annually on that money at that stage. So it's going to be really important just to figure out how to increase your income. So let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video. Again, stick around to survive this bear market. Take money out of anything that looks like it's drowning, any kind of sinking ship, and then figure out a way to increase your income. I think that's really what you have to focus on over the next few days, over the next few months, over the next year. It will be interesting if the Fed doesn't increase rates as quickly as people expect. It could be bullish for the market. It's going to be interesting to see what comes out tomorrow. I'll try to give you guys information as quickly as possible. I do have a couple appointments that I can't miss tomorrow. That's right around that time of the Fed meeting, but I'll try to update you as well as possible. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Again, check out the link underneath the video to BlockFi. I'll see you in the next video.